Hello, and here is another extra set talking about some extra dialogue. The Clerics actually came back. What I didn't know last set was their appearance is triggered by you defeating the Caprodoom and not defeating the Gargoyles. So I got a bit mixed up there. That's my fault. Anyway, let's see what new things they have to say. First off with Petrus.
Oh, hello. My guests have finally arrived. I will be departing with them shortly. So, I'm afraid I will be saying goodbye soon. It was a pleasure.
Just a sec, I forgot to do this at the start or before the recording. That is very unprofessional of me, but just gonna bump a few things up. I noticed in the last recording things were a bit quiet. Anyway.
Oh, hello. Miracles, I presume? Yes, I know.
And before we get into his bit of dialogue, about the origin of miracles, just in case any of you is wondering, I've been deliberating about it, looking at the descriptions and such. Pretty much in the same way that the sorceries originate from Seath the Scaleless and pyromancies generally originate from the Daughters of Chaos, miracles originate from the typical gods, particularly Gwyn, of course. As you saw the introduction, he was using the lightning spirit, so they're users, although I think the stronger variant. And this is not limited to Gwyn. Miracles are created by Velka, the goddess Sin that Oswald of Kareem worships, along with a few others, as you'll see later in the Painted World. Certain bishops and clerics can create miracles. Miracles in how they're conducted are strange in that they're sort of like, I'll see if I can actually get a description that puts it in better words than I do. Yeah, there we go. Great Heal excerpt borrows from only several verses of Great Heal. So it's a bit like, well, like a verse from, say, a Bible, or like a hymn or whatever. It's sort of words with power behind them, like you say, like, well, say like with Skyrim, when you say like Phosphoraton, you suddenly shoot out lightning. It works a bit like that way, I suppose, but with talismans and not your voice, to an extent. But yeah, Gwyn is not the only one. Bishops and clerics can write them, and even Gravelord Nito has a few miracles himself, which weirdly enough don't require any faith to use them. I just thought that was an interesting thing. In regards to sorceries and miracles, there are some other NPCs that talk about them in a bit more detail than you get with miracles. Anyway, enough babbling from me.
Rhea is the youngest daughter of the good house of Thurland. Those young knights are her old schoolmates, but I'm not sure what to make of them. I'm afraid they may be a bad influence.
So, yeah, he knows Rhea, he doesn't know her friends. Rhea is from the family of Thorland, who are... well, actually, we go back to the Thorland Talisman, they'll explain. High-ranking Thorland clerics. They are basically a high-ranking family of well-to-do people in the Way of White, which is where Rhea originates from.
Rhea is the youngest daughter of those young... But I'm not...
Yeah,
I'm afraid...
says he's not terribly trustworthy of her guards, which I'll leave that to you to think on why that might be. Anyway, that's enough with Petrus.
The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your...
Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, these are our classmates. Let's say hello, shall we? Come again? I think that muttering is supposed to be him, like, sort of reciting a hymn or a verse or whatever, but it's, you barely even fucking tell. Anyway, what about you? You more intelligible?
Hmm? What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp. Don't you dare meet my lady like that. You might scare her off for good.
Fucking starting on me, mate. Say that to my fucking face, lad. Anyway, he actually has more dialogue, and he actually, weirdly enough, gets slightly less abrasive towards you.
Oh, you again. What business have you? I don't suppose we can help, though. We accompany my lady on her righteous mission. It is quite a chore, but I'm stuck with her. And Nico, too. I can't very well abandon them now.
What a brilliant guard, by the way. It's just like, oh, fine, I guess I have to look after my childhood friend and stuff. God, I'd really rather just be downing pints in a tavern or somewhere. I can't be asked with protecting you.
Oh, it's you. We're to leave momentarily. The catacombs aren't exactly my idea of a good time, but what can one do? I do hope we meet again. Rarier Knox.
So yeah, as you said, he just gets weirdly like friendly with you at the last point. It's just like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before. They are going down to the catacombs to get the rite of kindling, which the catacombs and further down the Tomb of the Giants is where the Lord of Death, Grave Lord Nito, resides. So it's quite interesting that the tasks of the clerics are linked with necromancy in some way, and especially the link to the undead, I suppose. Let's have a chat with Rhea.
You are undead as well? Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
So yeah, if you talk to her again, she basically just says, "Did I not make myself clear? Piss off," or something along that line. I might be making it a bit more caustic. But she does give us an indication as to why she's doing this. She is undead. And it is specifically undead, I think, that are sent on this mission to get kindling. There is another... I think the first one to do it was a guy called Paladin Leroy. I know, haha, Leroy Jenkins, whatever. But that's why she's going there. And it's sort of characterized as... Well, let's say nobody would miss her if she were to disappear in the catacombs. Let's just leave it at that. And that's generally the path her storyline kind of takes, which we'll see in a moment. But enough about clerics. Frankly, I had enough of them right now. There is another NPC, which we have actually rescued, because you spend a lot of time rescuing NPCs in this game. And his name is Griggs.
Oh, hello. Well, you certainly are keeping at it. Myself, I'm fine. Let's get started straight away.
I'll admit I talked to him a bit before, and there was quite a few lines that I have missed out on for you. I apologise preemptively, I suppose, or in advance. But the most telling of which was him talking about the clerics. He mentioned basically what kindling was, which, if you remember, we had to pay, sort of under the table, sort of dirty-handed kind of way, to find out that information. But he basically already knows, and he just flat out tells you. Why Griggs knows when he's from Vinheim and that area generally doesn't really concern itself with miracles, as you can see is more of a sorcery place, is interesting, and it's a bit indicative of Griggs' character, I suppose. As you can see, if you wear the sorcerer set yourself, you'll notice it looks very different to what Griggs is wearing, and once you find his set, it goes into a bit more detail about why that is.
Have you heard of Big Hat Logan? Master Logan is a great sorcerer and my teacher. Both of us came to this land as undead. But one day he departed, leaving only a note. I suppose he wished to keep me out of harm's way. But where does that leave me? I have dedicated myself to sorcery, but Master Logan could find no use for me.
We'll meet Logan when we open up Sen's Fortress. He's a he's a pretty fun character, I'll say that.
Yes. The note that Master Logan left. It only said he would travel to Anolondo by way of Sen's Fortress. I can only guess that he seeks the regal archives. For Master Logan is a tireless pursuer of wisdom. Wisdom trumps all. Everything else is hogwash. When the curse turned him undead, I'm certain that he only felt it was the perfect chance to visit this land. I only wish that I had his courage.
So as I mentioned before, the origin of sorcery lies with the dragons, and specifically Seath the Skinless. So the regal archives he mentions are those that Seath owns, and they are specifically referred to as the Duke's archives. If you remember, Seath is the one who ultimately betrayed his own kind, and he was rewarded for that by Gwyn, by becoming a Duke. So we'll be going to those archives soon enough, and that's basically where Big Hat Logan's storyline ends.
2 things are required for sorcery. First, you must equip a wand. Second, you must attune a sorcery. Then you will be ready to fire away. Oh, and don't forget to aim.
Pretty sound advice for any ranged attack, of course. Thanks for that. That really flew past my head. I'd never considered that.
2 things are required for sorcery.
And that's about it.
Second, then you... Oh, and
Righty.
goodbye then. Do stay safe.
So that's Griggs. I think, regarding the clerics, actually, now that they're here, Mr. Crestfallen Warrior will have some more dialogue, so I'll very just sort of stutterily make my way over.
Did you see her? That virtuous little maiden, complete with followers in tow? They're probably going straight to pillage graves. I've heard enough about Milady for a lifetime.
So yeah, he has a pretty low opinion of the clerics, as do quite a lot of characters, to be honest. In pretty much all the Souls games, clerics and people of a religious slant aren't generally... they're either not taken very seriously, or they're described as quite shady and hypocritical people, and I don't know if that's more telling of Miyazaki's opinion of religion, but it's quite amusing.
How did that nutty sorcerer make it back? Unexpected. But I suppose stranger things have happened.
True enough, indeed. He did seem a bit useless.
How did that raggedy old chum end up? You know, the one who idolized some godmother of pyromancy. He left for Blighttown, but never came back. Whereas most flee from sickness, he dives right in. Well, nothing will harm him once he goes hollow.
So the reason he's gone to Blighttown is because, in a much similar way that the catacombs and Tomb of the Giants are linked to Grave Nito, the Blighttown and the Demon Ruins, further down below, linked to the lost city of Izalith, which is basically where pyromancy originated, because that was where the Daughters of Chaos resided. So he's basically gone there to try and find some of the ancient pyromancies and see what he can get, but of course in order to get to through Blighttown he has to go through the depths. And that's where we'll find him. And he's basically, if you don't start out as a pyromancer, that's where you get pyromancies.
Hmm? What now? I'm not up for chatting.
Alright, I've exhausted his dialogue. So, that was that. I think I'm going to leave the depths for a whole set by itself, so when I'm done, I will go to the Dark Garden. Although, I suppose, considering this is an extra set about dialogue, this will seem a bit out of order, so I'll probably already have done it. Anyway, I'll see you around.